So, Delana, welcome to my YouTube channel. How you feel?
I feel amazing.
Yeah, can you
Right.
introduce
Yeah.
yourself a little bit?
Okay. So everyone who's watching, my name is Delana Miyazaki. I live in Hokkaido, up on the North Island in Sapporo, and I am the voice of Hokkaido announcing the next stop is Sapporo Station. Thank you for riding JR Hokkaido today. Please be careful not to leave any of your belongings behind, etc., etc. So
Wow,
I get to
the
do
real voice.
the real voice. That is me. Sometimes people think I'm just pretending, but it's really me. And I'm so lucky I've gotten to record for probably about half of the major public transportation here in Sapporo and throughout the islands and elsewhere. There are some bigger projects I'm not allowed to talk about. So you might have heard me outside of Hokkaido. You can
Wow.
guess where. So I also am a singer-songwriter. This is my home studio.
11月11日ポッキーの日の思い出君がくれたキスの香りが
or more. And I also am an English teacher at a couple of universities and in kindergartens. I do everything. And I also get to be a travel reporter and write articles about traveling in Japan. So that's kind of the
Amazing.
nutshell version.
But
Yeah.
20 years ago, no Google, no web, no YouTube, you cannot really
Mhm.
get to know, what is Japan and how did you decide to move to Japan? And then what was the biggest trigger?
Okay, I was getting ready to graduate from college and I had studied counseling, which to make a career of, you really have to go like master's level. And I felt like maybe that wasn't the choice for me. And I knew that I wanted to go overseas and volunteer for a year or something. I had been to Russia on a short trip before
Mm.
college, and it was like wonderful to get out of the country. So I knew I wanted to go somewhere. And somebody came and spoke at my university about working as an English teacher in Hong Kong. And something inside was like, oh, that sounds amazing. I want to go. But
Mm-hmm.
I could not get in contact with that school or those people. And I was getting close to graduation. So friends of mine in the same class were like, hey, in Sapporo, we have these upperclassmen who graduated before us that are working there. We're planning to go do some work. Delana, why don't you come to Japan? Japan. Like I had no clue. I wasn't really like excited or sold. It was just like,
Uh-huh.
okay, this is an idea. I don't have any
Mm-hmm.
other plans.
So, okay, Japan, what is that? What kind of knowledge you had that time about Japan?
I knew it was Asia and sumo and sushi and martial arts and
Mm,
technology being really advanced culture, people really
mm,
studying hard, being very smart.
mm.
Too.
Okay, that was the image.
So I didn't know.
So like, I think our, student is 90% student are from United States. Or most of our students are living in Japan currently like you. And
Mhm.
then they live in Japan quite many years, but also kind of they are having a totally international environment. They don't use so much Japanese, but live in Japan, they of course want to experience more local things, communicating with people. So like you know, live in Japan for 20 years. What was the most difficult part these 20 years?
I think the most difficult part probably has been feeling isolated at
Mm,
times. Being a foreigner, I think a lot of people will identify if you have foreign friends from other countries, people
mm,
move away.
mm,
Um, Gets to a point where you feel like, can I make new friends? Are they just going to leave again?
mm,
Sometimes. Being a foreigner in another country, there's going to be hard things. And if you move to Japan expecting um, to maybe like make your best friend with somebody local,
mm.
you absolutely might find a kindred person
Yeah.
that has experiences. Anything's possible, but also I think being really open to
Mm,
just growing yourself. And also the more that you learn to communicate and to speak in a way that expresses your real character and maybe not. Like that was the thing. Like when we first met, I'll be really candid. I had no intention of signing up for Japanese lessons right now.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I was spying on your
Mm-hmm.
system because I also want to be producing for my
Uh-huh.
business and things. Like your marketing
Mm-hmm.
was so good, annoyingly good. Like it just kept, your face was showing up every day. And I finally clicked on it. Like, I want to see what she's doing right to
Mm-hmm.
get my attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, free call? Yeah, okay, sure. I'll find out how they talk on the phone. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
free Japanese class or trial?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
No plan. I was just gonna be like, thank you, that was great. And because I've been here 21 years,
Mm.
not to be like too full of myself, but I thought I was gonna blow you away with my
Mm.
Japanese.
Mm.
And then you came back and you just like, oh, I see where you have some issues. And like this, and then going from really formal Japanese to, hey, dude.
Mm.
And like, I was so moved because that is one thing about living in Japan, that people have this like polite wall
Mm.
to not offend other people. So I was here for like a month and I only knew like how to say my name and a couple, like I'm from America, and like, oh, your Japanese is so good, like that
Mm.
flattery. It's
Mm.
not helpful. And even when I was trying to like hire a friend of mine to teach me Japanese a few years ago, it was really hard to get that honest correction or
Mm.
like feedback that's really professional. So I appreciated you and the teachers I've worked with so far. You've trained them really well. First
Thank
couple
you
of
so
lessons,
much.
I seriously like got
Mm.
choked up and almost like teared up from feeling like I needed this 20 years ago. But I'm so happy now because I am a professional narrator, work professionally in a lot of things, but the way they teach Japanese in most language schools, all the mas, this is really formal.
Mm.
The textbooks, it's not how people usually really talk. And there's a lot of nuance to it.
Mm.
And I really want to present my best character and very like sound intelligent. And so for me being able to do that in Japanese with confidence, like even in the short time I've been in the program, I just finished like my first 10 lessons with my sensei. Oh, I love the fact that you chose my first teacher, someone who worked professionally in TV and that
Mm.
industry, because she was such a perfect match. Um, when we had our first lesson, I got more value out of that free Zoom,
Mm.
like what we did, than probably any Japanese class I've paid for. It was definitely amazing. And then I wanted to just be like, okay, first lesson tomorrow.
Mm.
And you actually kind of put the brakes on and advised me to take a little time and plan out what I wanted to
Mm.
be learning. Because in my case, like a beginning student, when I have beginning students, it's easy in a way because you can start anywhere
Mm.
and be teaching them. And you've got
Yeah.
your system that is
Mm.
really nicely lined out. I've looked at the textbook. And if you're a beginner in Japanese, this style, if you want to speak Japanese and communicate in Japanese and not just read kanji and know the formal textbook for passing tests, I think starting here is like, wish I had the opportunity. It would have saved me some years of frustration.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You had experiencing learning Japanese, of course, by yourself, with some free teacher or some lessons. So can you a little bit share, like before you met us, like what was some common lesson and that you kind of felt like something is a problem? You already said it's mostly Japanese people are not correcting your Japanese, even you are really speaking wrong.
I was studying with teachers and using the standard textbook of Mina no Nihongo. That's like the
Mm.
standard Japanese.
Yeah.
And it got very frustrating because I'm studying this and everything is mas and des, and then in the outside world, nobody's talking that way except very, very formal situations.
Yeah.
Like 90% of your life is like not using that. And then just a small percent of my life, almost none of it was that style back
Mm.
then. So I think a lot of people, my mother, she studied Japanese for a year every day listening to language tapes in the car on her drive to work. And she got so frustrated because when she got to meet my family here and everything, nobody talked that way.
So
I
kind of
think
biggest issues is how it's written in a textbook and the real situation is nothing is same.
completely different. Yeah.
Completely different.
I think you focus really hard on memorizing a phrase that's really polite, and then you use it, and if you're like, oh wow, you can say, 私の名前は宮崎デレーナです. That's fine, but people don't normally use all of that language. And so you end up, maybe people are talking back to you in that really formal, kind of not normal conversational way. And so it gets to be frustrating because you want to be like, hey, I'm Delana, not like, my name is Delana Miyazaki, formal ending, like just, hey, I'm Delana, like, Delana this, you want to have your own character. And so learning in a real life situation, I think it's much better to, like I said, my system of catching something in real life that I heard somebody say, spitting it back out in my own words and kind of checking, is that right? And then I've got a phrase and just building from that in like a really natural way, the same way that kids learn to speak is so important.
So you're actually excited to learn Japanese, but when you started, you realize this is a lot harder than you imagine. But of course, you really want to be able to speak Japanese. You actually can understand what they are talking. You can join the conversation. You can interact them. And you can actually make friends. You can work with them. And you can easily enjoy the life in Japan. Life is only once. Then, of course, you start learning Japanese and hiragana, katakana, kanji, which is 50,000 letters and 500,000 vocabulary, 20 layers of politeness, grammar. Oh my God, this is gonna be a really, really hard. Then you start to become self-conscious about it, like your speaking skills and stop trying and your pronunciation and losing the motivation. So the language learning itself is already really hard. Learning Spanish, French, German, any languages. But if you chose Japanese language, which is one of the most difficult language, of course you feel like you're not making progress enough, you start forgetting, and you feel like when you really be able to speak Japanese. But you're not alone. These are really common problems that everybody face it. And textbook and language apps cannot talk to you. So you cannot learn how to hold a conversation, how to carry on the conversation naturally. So maybe do you want to change the learning method so you can make the much faster progress? You can feel easier to start speaking. So in our consultation, you can learn what is the fastest way to learn Japanese. What is a new learning method to actually give you this Japanese speaking skills. So sign up our free consultation now.